This episode is brought to you by Strength Portal. You need a single software platform that enables your trainers to deliver consistent, high-quality workouts, track client progress, and scale your business. The problem is you're still using pen and paper or basic spreadsheets to run your business, which leads to poor client experiences, inaccurate tracking, and prevents you from growing your business, making you feel frustrated. Strength Portal understand your challenge and have worked closely with the HIIT industry to create a software platform to manage and scale your niche business. You can integrate with MindBody, manage a standardized exercise and workout library for your team, track workouts effectively, and produce client reports at the click of a button. Strength Portal is used by multiple businesses in the high-intensity strength training community, namely Discover Strength, Smart Strength Austin, MedX Precision Fitness, and more. Starting with Strength Portal is super simple. Number 1, sign up for the best package for your business. Number 2, let Strength Portal take the load off and help onboard your business onto the platform. And number 3, start delivering consistent workout experiences and scale your business to the next level. To help support the podcast, please go to strengthportal.com/high intensity business and sign up now so you can stop feeling frustrated about your business and start to scale your business to its true potential. Go to strengthportal.com/high intensity business. Lawrence Neal here, and welcome back to High Intensity Business, the podcast where we discuss high intensity strength training and provide you with the tools, the tactics, and the strategies to help you grow your strength training business. Today is episode 378, and the topic is how to sell the hell in 5 simple steps. Today's guest is Corey Beth. Corey Beth is mom of 2 boys. She and her husband, Mike Lepowski, build people up through their fitness franchise, Pure Physique. They've been featured on CBS, NBC, and Fox for their 30-minute live transformative fitness and nutrition mindset programs that don't include calorie counting or cardio. Corey Beth loves getting to the root of people's problems to discover solutions. For her, this process starts on the sales call. Welcome to the podcast, Corey Beth.
Thank you, Lawrence. It's a pleasure to be here.
Do you prefer Corey Beth or a shortened version?
I take the whole thing. I didn't get a middle name, so I take all the first name I got.
Cool. Good for you. I appreciate that. So I'm really excited to get into your presentation. So for those listening, the reason that we're doing this podcast is I was unable to attend, not Rec last year, although I didn't attend the Rec last year. Rec before that, it's 2020, I think. Was it? Or 2021, maybe?
It was October 2021.
Right. And you delivered this great presentation called Sell That. Was it Sell the Health and you've renamed it to Sell the Hell? Is that right? Or was it always Sell the Hell?
It's always been Sell the Hell.
Okay. All right. Maybe I just assumed it was health because that's what I thought it said. But anyway, you got really good reviews on that presentation. And, a load of people said, you've got to have Corey Beth on to talk about it. So here we are. And I love talking about sales. I have a sales background. I always find I can learn more. And I'm really interested to hear your approach to selling. And so with that said, I'm going to attempt to share this presentation. So if you just give me a second here.
Well, while you do that,
yeah.
I love that you have a sales background and I was not aware of that.
Yeah. So before I started all this nonsense, I was in London for about 10 years almost, just selling like complex IT services to businesses.
Wow.
And had a fairly good career in that, but wasn't massively passionate about it. And so started the podcast while I was in that industry, and then eventually had the opportunity to move over to Ireland with my Irish fiance. And for I had a bunch of savings, wasn't making barely any money through the business, but it gave me enough runway. And the rest is history. You figure it out. So
I love that.
And the sales skills, really help to obviously get the business started and, create deals and partnerships and obviously sell services and things like that. So that's been very helpful. I mean, sales is such a useful skill to have, right? It's critical in business, really. Yeah.
I was going to say, we should almost all have to take the course of that.
Yeah, for sure. So I found the presentation you'll all be glad to hear. Cool. All right. So let's do this. So you got the start of the presentation here. Corey Beth, take it away.
All right. So again, presented this to a rec and felt like this was something that was incredibly important. At that conversation, I opened up by asking who in the audience sold. And it was really interesting, Lawrence, because only a handful of hands went up. But really, what I wanted to reinforce and remind is that every single person in that room, whether they were a trainer, a business owner, a front desk person, an assistant, every single one of us sells every single day without realizing it. And to be empowered in that way, I think was incredibly important for all of us to realize, because our clients need us. No matter what capacity we work within fitness or health, or we're owning businesses, our clients are coming to us for a reason. And I really do believe that it is our job to uncover the root of what it is that they need. And that process is sales. I think we make sales very scary, that we have to have this monetary exchange, but we're selling an idea. I mean, heck, I sell myself to my kids every single day by convincing them they have to eat apples and make their beds. I have to sell that idea. So, this skill, that you and I both possess, I really think it's important for all of us to develop for a multitude of reasons.
Great start. All right. So I think that is the first slide, isn't it? Do you sell? Are we more to say on this one, or are we moving on?
We can move actually 3 slides. I think there's one where I'm on Mike's shoulders that we could skip right to.
All right. This one right here.
We could even go one more than that.
Well, hang on. Let's just look at this for a second, because I want to talk about this for a moment. You went from hating sales. What was your background before working with Mike in the business?
So I'm a former teacher for 7 years. I spent a lot of time in the classroom. My dual undergrad was psychology and special education, and then went on to get my master's in literacy. So it seems so different from what I do now in fitness and sales, but there's so much that goes between that, just simply because as a teacher, you got to sell yourself to your students, and you got to sell yourself to your parents. You got to sell the idea of learning, or sell the parents on what they need to be doing differently for their kids. However, the word sales, it always terrified me, Lawrence. I mean, when I got out with Mike, we made a business plan to get me out of teaching, actually on our honeymoon. And he said, I really need help with this sales. And I was like, oh my gosh, that is the last thing in the world that I want to do. Like, I just like being happy and teaching and working with kids. But I'm like, all right, I'll give it a shot. And it was so difficult for me to sell a 30-minute session for 25, American dollars. I would give people 60 minutes of my time because I felt so bad taking $25 from them. So in the beginning, it really was a big struggle for me. And so for myself, it really was going back to my roots of psychology. Sales is psychology. Going back to my master's of literacy, using words to help us get our point across, and seeking the guidance of coaches, those who had gone before me that knew way more than I did, to be able to help and assist me in that. And so, it's funny, I look at this stat in 2020, selling almost $250,000 in coaching programs. Some people are going to say that's really impressive. Others are going to say that that's not really impressive at all. But with the downturn of everything that happened to all of us collectively in the fitness industry, I was pretty freaking proud of that, Lawrence, and just to keep on moving from that point forward. I mean, I think if you could be successful in hard times by having these skills, you could be successful anytime.
That's right. You can pivot the offer to solve the new problem, right? Which is kind of what you guys did, if I remember right. You focus a lot more obviously on the online side of things and virtual training, and you're able to do really well with that. Awesome, yeah. And I just think what's interesting there is it sounds like your background in teaching, you probably developed quite a strong communication skill base, which has transferred quite nicely into sales. Is that fair to say? Would you say?
I would definitely say that,
Yeah. Cool. All right. So I love this presentation, by the way. It's very nicely formatted. All right. So, all right, let's focus on this one.
So really, I do believe that sales is our ability to uncover the hell that our prospect lives in, and really to show them the heaven that they want to live in. And what I believe is so important here is, let me ask Lawrence, speaking with all of these high intensity businesses, small business owners, why do their clients come to them?
Why their clients come to them? For a lot of the time is weight loss, right? Building strength, building muscle. Probably they feel weak. They've got some kind of health ailments that they're trying to overcome. The quality of life sucks because they're not fit, something like that. Those are some of the top ones.
It's pretty accurate, right? All across the world, people come to us for really the same reasons. And the first one that you said, weight loss, that's what everyone always leads with. I feel like we're getting more away from that as we've approached now 2020 into 2022, where people they want to have more energy and feel better overall. But weight loss typically is the biggest goal. But what's ironic is once a client has been with you for 3, 6, 12 months, they don't say, oh my gosh, look at all the weight I lost. What do they say? I can play with my kids now. I can get down on the floor with my grandkids. I can go on that triathlon and compete in the way that I wanted to. Or we have a client that just went, 2 clients actually, that just went and climbed mountains. They weren't able to do that before. So I think we are ignoring a huge need for a conversation in the beginning that goes way beyond weight loss. And I hope to help your listeners discover how to do that today.
Just on that, I love this. So you're saying that your clients who lose a lot of weight, they rarely comment on that really becomes the important outcome. It's more what it enables them to do is what you find.
100%.
But do they not still look in the mirror and go, wow, look at what or it's a weird thing, or is it one of those things where it's like, well, it's almost like I've always been like this, but you haven't. Is it one of those? They don't necessarily appreciate as much, or I don't know. Just curious.
I mean, they do comment like, wow, I've lost 30 pounds, but that's not ever the focus of their celebration. It is more, I can fit into this dress and show up to that party or wedding with confidence. I can go on a long walk and not get winded anymore. So while we do say, yes, you've lost 30, 50, 70 pounds, they always focus on what they're now able to do, where that was never a goal in the beginning. It was a far off thing. And I think that we as salespeople have to present that to them in the beginning to help them realize, hey, if we don't work together or you don't take action on this, you're not going to be able to do any of those things. And is that important to you? You know?
Yeah, awesome. Okay. So sales is your ability to uncover the hell in your prospect lives. Cover the hell your prospect lives in and show the heaven they want to live in. I love the simplicity of this. All right, moving on to the next slide. How do you discover your prospects' hell, Corey Beth?
Let's do it. Next slide, step 1.
Okay.
The first question we're always going to ask is, what is your biggest challenge? And I think that in the beginning of this 5-step process, they're going to give you surface stuff. I want to lose weight. I want to look better. I want to, tone up my midsection or my arms. It's always a very superficial answer. So let's hop on to step 2.
I'm so guilty, by the way, of getting that information and not going deeper. I just want to underscore that I've been in sales for years and I've sold very, very high value items to businesses, $1 million, pound, whatever you want to call it, contracts. And yet I have definitely failed to peel the onion on this in our studio business. So this is really good stuff. So anyway, next slide. Here we go.
No, thanks for sharing that, because I think that's everyone. I mean, that was me. Yeah. Do you want a nutrition consult? I want to lose fat. Okay, let's sit down together. That's where most of the question stops. But even this question only gets us a second layer in of 5. And so when we say something like question number 2, how long have you been struggling? They're always going to lie to you about the answer to this question.
72 hours.
I mean, how long have you been struggling with 30 pounds of weight gain? I don't know, like the last week, and we as professionals know that that's not the truth. But again, some of us will take that answer at face value. We'll move them into a program, training, or whatever it is that we're going to offer. And we never get to the root. So our job always should be get to the root so that we can motivate them in hard times. Because if someone just says, I want to lose fat, and I think I've only had this problem for a month, chance of them sticking around your small business or your training studio, it's slim. They're going to stick around for a little bit. They're going to get bored. Maybe they move on. And maybe you have that client for a really long time, but I personally feel like we have not served them. We have not served them at the highest possible level. And in fact, on any sales call or conversation, my intention is always, I'm going to serve the heck out of the person. And if we stop here, we haven't accomplished that objective. So let's go to number 3.
Just before we do, I just wondered if there's a cultural thing here. So I found that when I ask this kind of question of our clients or our prospects, they'll say, I don't know whether the Irish or the English just more self-deprecating, right? So they'll say, yeah, no, I've been like super fat for like since I had kids like 3 years ago. So I gained a load of like they'll be a little bit more honest, because I always found Americans to be a bit more optimistic in general, right? And there's that whole thing that people talk about, which is that Americans celebrate success and they're just generally more positive. I know we're generalizing here, and that the Europeans and primarily the Irish and English is a little bit more pessimistic and self-deprecating. So I do wonder if there's a little bit of a cultural thing here. Maybe not that doesn't mean you don't follow the process in the same way. Just find it interesting that you might get different answers from different nationalities.
That's a really interesting point that quite honestly I hadn't considered. But when I think about our friends that live in Britain or live in other places of the world, I would really agree with you, because I feel like we've gotten to bodybuilding shows with our friends from the UK and they're like, oh, my diet's been garbage, whereas you have the Americans show up and it's, oh, I've done pretty good, And again, I know it's a generalization. People are going to listen and be like, you're wrong, Corey Beth. But in my personal experience, I tend to agree with you on this one.
Yeah, it's called tall poppy syndrome. It's like you don't want to rise above the crowd, because you'll get snipped and you'll get hated for it. So it's like you're trying to hide in the crowd. I don't know what I mean. Again, we're digressing into something that's completely not that relevant, but I don't know why that is. I don't know whether it's because of the size of the country and the density of population. I have no idea, but it's just fascinating. All right, so moving on. Okay, so where else is this challenge showing up? Go ahead.
Well, and I think whether a person says, I've been struggling for a month, or I've been struggling, as you mentioned, for 3 years, understanding where else the challenge shows up really helps us to see deeper into that client's life, and they may say things that shock us or maybe even seem embarrassing, depending on the type of person you are. I've gotten answers here where it affects their intimate sexual life with their partner. And regardless of what they say, I believe our job is always to come at this from a place of curiosity and concern, never judgment. We always want to be curious and concerned for our client. And so to say something like, hey, where else are you seeing this? You're 30-pound weight. Where else are you feeling this? And when I think back to my own personal story of being 30 pounds overweight, well, I didn't want to be in pictures. I didn't feel confident about myself. I didn't want to go to social gatherings. I definitely did not want to get in a bathing suit, and so once we really understand some of the pain that our people live in, it's not just great for us as the salesperson, it actually smacks them in the face with the reality of their situation. I believe we never want to make somebody's situation worse than it is. But in that American mindset, Lawrence, we also don't want to make it better than what it is, And so when we talk to trainers and coaches, we never want to say like, oh, trainer, that's not a big deal. It's just, let's just see it for what it is. Let's take it as factual logic. You can't run up the hill. You can't walk upstairs without getting winded. You can't go running with your kids. Got it. Got it. And they have a little bit of a breakthrough at this point in the conversation, realizing their goal is way bigger than just pounds on the scale.
This episode is brought to you by Strength Portal. You need a software platform that enables you to track workouts, deliver consistent high-quality client experiences, and scale your business. The problem is you're still using pen and paper or basic spreadsheets to run your business, which leads to inconsistent workout experiences and stifles your business growth, making you feel frustrated. Strength Portal have worked closely with the HIIT industry to create a software platform to manage and scale your niche business. Strength Portal is used by multiple businesses in the high-intensity strength training community, namely Discover Strength, Smart Strength Austin, MedX Precision Fitness, and more. To help support the podcast, go to strengthportal.com/high-intensity business and sign up for your ideal package now. That's strengthportal.com/high-intensity business. And now back to the episode. Let's go. Yeah, it becomes real therapy at this point, which reminds me to mention a few things. This has to be done in private. You cannot do this in an open studio floor with people around. Like ideally you want to have an office or somewhere you can do this privately, because that's how you're really going to get the real root problems out of the person, right? Because they're going to feel much more comfortable. And maybe it's a given. Clearly you're a great listener, Corey Beth, but you've got to say these things, say these questions and shut the hell up and just listen, right? And don't try and finish the person's sentence, give them time. Don't be uncomfortable about a pause. A lot of the time that's them thinking about it hard before they come up with their next response. And I think that's really important. And just to place this in the process, obviously in our space, I'm not sure exactly what your process is, Corey Beth, but a lot of our colleagues will do a free introductory workout where they'll have the tour at the beginning, the meet and greet, the waiver signing, all the rest of it. Then the consultation, which is where this happens, then the workouts, they can experience the difference, and then the close at the end, right? So if anyone is listening to this and thinking, okay, this is great, but I need the full picture, I just went through The Art of Selling, I think it's called, which is a course that Luke Carlson did, who's the CEO of Discover Strength, for HIT Uni. It's amazing. If you want the full Discover Strength sales process and you want to implement it, that course is great. So I'll link that up. You get a 10% discount through High Intensity Business. It's only $129 anyway. It's a bargain. Don't understand. Well, maybe everyone is buying it, but if they're not, they should be. Anyway, just wanted to get that said because I wanted to put all of this into context. So should we move on to the next slide?
Well, no, I appreciate you saying that. And for us personally, this conversation comes before the free introductory workout. So before they even come in, we want to get a great feel for where they're at and what it is they want to accomplish. I mean, I think, sales is not at the very end. We have the sale after the conversation and the workout and everything else. Sales is a process that happens all the way through from start to finish. So to collect the proper information or data, then to provide with that workout, I mean, you're going to be closing sales at a very high level. So this is definitely always private phone conversation.
Yeah, I'm literally updating our sales process immediately after this presentation. All right. So next one.
So we're kind of going to repeat question number 2, but now we're going to reference question 3 when we ask it. So how long has it been showing up? So now we know that they can't walk up the stairs without being winded, or they're really not confident when they go to social gatherings, or they just despise the way they look in pictures, or their sex life, in private, behind doors, closed doors, they don't want their spouse to see them. Now, when we ask things like that, we're going to get a real time frame. And so, a lot of people will say, like, how long have I not felt good about myself? My entire life. How much have I struggled with some of these feelings since I was little? I think we know from psychology that most of our core memories and our personality are actually formed by the age of 8. And so, when we see someone that's been struggling with weight or confidence their entire life, if we trace it all the way back, and I'm not saying we have to do this on this call, it's just more of like an interesting point to make. A lot of people had something that happened at, age 9, second grade, third grade. I can vividly remember feeling unimportant at that point because of a teacher I had that just would always like brush me off and shove me off. Ironically enough, her name was Mrs. Helling, which is kind of ironic.
Irrelevant.
But when you ask people that, these core memories get programmed into us by that time. And then people go on to believe something about themselves that may not be true. And we see them struggle in many areas in their life for their entire life because who teaches us to deprogram that or decondition that out of us? So again, I know we're going down a little bit of a tangent and I want to definitely stay on topic, but most people struggle with these things a big chunk of their life. And I think that our job is to uncover that for them.
Yeah, the wording of these questions is so important. The use of showing up is so subtle and it's so non-invasive. It's such a great way of crafting the question. And for those who are just listening, we're going through a presentation right now and it will be on YouTube. So if you want to see it, you can, but we'll be mentioning all the questions anyway. So you'll still get a good feel for the process. All right. So moving on to the next one.
Well, and then this is kind of like when we drop the ball on them. And again, we have to do it always from a place of curiosity and concern because our job is to serve the heck out of our prospect or our client. We want to love them to their goal and work hand in hand with them to that point. So asking this question certainly has to be done in an empathetic and caring way. And question number 5, the final question here is, where will you be in 10 years if nothing changes? And Lawrence, the number of people over the past several years that answer this question with, I won't be here or I'll be dead, is shocking. You know, when people are confronted with their future based on the decisions they've made up to this point, it's almost a scary place to get to. I've had women down in tears on private telephone conversations because they're like, oh my, I don't know where I'll be. I don't think I'll be here. I don't think I'll get to see my grandkids or whatever their goal is. And at this point, we know that we've hit them at the root of, hey, if nothing changes, nothing changes. And so it's imperative for them to take action on this. And it enables us to bring them in for the orientation or just to do a total phone sale and sell them on an online program or whatever it is that your business owners are doing. Now we know hit the root.
What do you say to anyone who might say, oh, Corey Beth, this seems very manipulative. You know, you're getting right into people's emotions and therefore they almost are powerless when it comes to, like, you know, the close and when you sell the program. How do you feel about that?
I think that's wrong. I really do believe that our job is to serve people at the highest level. And if we don't truly have an understanding of the problem, how can we help? And I think a great analogy is to think about going into a doctor's office because your toe hurts, right? And if the doctor just turned around and said to you, just take this cream, and you leave the office, do you feel served? Do you feel like he gave you the time or she gave you the time and attention to fix your problem? Whereas you walk to a different doctor's office and they say to you, hey, where does it hurt? You know, it hurts in my big toe. Well, how long has it been hurting? Oh gosh, it's been hurting for like 2 weeks. Well, where else are you seeing this? Well, you know what? The back of my calf hurts and it really hurts when I walk. And you know what? That's kind of radiating in my knee. Well, okay. Well, how long has that been going on? You know, wow, that's actually been like the 6 months to a year of my life. All right, well, listen, if nothing changes, you may end up in a wheelchair or you may end up continuing to suffer from this pain and missing out on things in your life. I mean, that's when we feel like that doctor or professional or specialist really served the heck out of us. And then when they present, you don't actually need the cream, you actually need to go for massage. We'll go and we'll take that. And then we as the professional have actually served them. I just believe that our purpose is to take people from point A to point B. And if we falter in that process, we haven't shown them what's really wrong. And we certainly haven't shown them a path. Now, also too, if they express something to us that's beyond our lane or beyond our scope, I also believe it's our job to refer them to someone else. And in fact, I had someone recently that presented a whole myriad of health issues. And I said, listen, I would love to be able to help you, but this is just beyond my scope. And so instead, I'm going to refer you out to this amazing person that's going to be able to really help you with your nutrition and all these other specific blood things that she had going on. And then when you're ready, I'm here for you. I got you. Come on in. Let's do some workouts together. But this really is beyond me. So I also think it helps us to paint a better picture for, can we help this person?
Yeah, and you've got to play a long game with stuff like that. You can't, if you get someone like that, you shouldn't try and sell them anyway. You should do the right thing because then they're going to, you know, come back in the future and train with you and bring all their friends, right? You know, I'm just going back in the presentation, and I guess it also, if you have a situation where you have someone come in, now I know this is unlikely because if someone's coming for a consultation, they are somewhat pre-qualified, they have a problem that needs to be solved. But do you ever get someone come in and you ask, what's your biggest challenge? And they're like, you know, I'm good, you know, just want to get like a fitness program going, right? And then you to follow up with, well, how long have you been struggling? It's not going to make as much sense. So how would you tackle that? Just curious, you know, have you had that situation happen, and does that happen very often?
Oh my gosh, yes. Okay. People are just, I'm just looking around, just looking to see what you guys offer, you know? I mean, that to me is always somebody that I want that challenge of uncovering what's really going on, because at the end of the day, why are they looking? There's a gap somewhere in their life that's not being met. And now it is my freaking mission to figure out what it is. We had a woman that literally, I mean, I can think of the conversation, and of course I would never mention her name, but it was, I'm just shopping around. And I was like, oh, wow, that's really interesting. I think the way we could tweak this question, instead of what's your biggest challenge, what I asked her was, what's not working? She's like, well, Oh wow. And it is that awkward pause, Lawrence. Like I call it like the awkward turtle. Let it happen. Don't fill it. Don't try to fill the space. Just wait. Because the answer that's going to come after that awkward pause is amazing. And she was like, I just hate how I feel. Like I have these two young kids and I really want to just be able to like be more energized for them. And then we can proceed. But I think a different way of asking someone that's a little bit more surface or shopping around, so to speak, like that to me is best. You're not shopping around. You are looking for a solution to your problem. And again, it is our duty to uncover what it really is, because that's just surface garbage.
So the alternative question is, what's not working for you? If you get that kind of person.
What's not working?
Yeah, great.
And expect the long pause. Long pause always follows that question because they have to process that. What's not working? I don't know anybody that's ever asked anybody a question like that. So if you say what's not working, they really have to think. Like,
let me throw you another curveball. What if you get someone who says, "Oh, I know, it's all good. Like everything seems to be working. I'm just curious to see what you guys are up to in terms of your services." How would you respond to that? I know I'm really putting you on the spot now, but just curious how you think about that.
I like it. I don't mind this. I think you forget that as a teacher, and I didn't mention this, not only did I teach just wonderful third and fourth graders, I also worked in a criminal facility for emotionally behaviorally disturbed youth. So you're never going to throw me a curveball, Lawrence.
Keep that
in mind. With that, if they're like, I'm really good, then we can just say, okay, cool. What's your goal? And if they really give the pushback, like it's just to get stronger, I just want to tone up a little bit, or whatever the answer may be, then proceed with offering them the orientation. I would say for 90 to 95% of your people, you can walk them through this process. But for those outliers, that 5 to 10%, ask about the goal. If they really push on keeping it surface, I would say like don't be weird and like keep digging into them, keep it surface with them, but offer to bring them for the trial. And then who knows, later on in another consult or a follow-up or a check-in, nutrition consult, whatever it is that your people do, then we can have an opportunity to dig a little bit deeper, because everyone that we see walking around is struggling with something. You have struggles, I got struggles, everyone's got struggles. And sometimes earning a little bit of trust to be able to get into what really is going on or what they really want to change in their life.
Yeah. Well said. That's great. Yeah, it really gives some good ideas for people who come across outliers like that, as you say. All right. So here we go. Let's go back to where we were. We did that one. Okay, so here we are. Recap.
So to recap, with those 90% of people, we're going to really help our client to uncover the hell they live in. And again, never make it worse than what it is, but never make it better than what it is. And one other thing I love to add here is never see this as an opportunity to share your story. I think it's so easy for us when we're in front of someone or on the phone and they start saying, I'm really struggling with cravings and I just can't get it together. We want to have, especially as women, I think we want to relate to them. We want to connect with them. We want them to feel like they're not alone. And so sometimes we go down this of like this lane of me too. I've struggled with that. Let me tell you what that was like. And at that point, you have lost the sale. You've lost control of the conversation. Yeah. I think the best answer to that, for me being on the phone with other women is I'll say, either got it or yeah, I understand, or I'll just use, if they're talking about something personal to them, I will say something like, hey, listen, your story is my story. Like, let's continue. And so it gives you that bit of connection. I think that female personalities really want without losing control of the conversation. So we want to take them to that surface hurt to really make them see like it's not just today or yesterday that their knee has been out of whack or they've been struggling with osteoporosis or osteopenia. That didn't happen yesterday. We really want to bring them to the point where, hey, if you do not change this path you're on, you are not going to be living a long and healthy life. It's not just about lifespan. It really is about span. I mean, that's what we're in the business of doing, is giving people health span. And so when we successfully do that, we can sell the hell and actually put them in a place where they can begin building back up.
Yeah. And it's an important point what you said there. You said to recap all they said. So you help your client uncover the hell they live in 5 simple steps. We've been through those 5 questions. And then you're recapping their answers. but you shouldn't, like you say, make it worse, because then it just comes across really inauthentic. Like it's obviously that you're trying to sell them on something, right? Which way you want to keep it factual based on what they said.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and I think at the end of the day, pain sells. I mean, you're living in Ireland. I'm living over in the States in New York. Let me ask you a question. Do you brush your teeth every day?
Most days.
Most
Yes.
days. But why? Why do you brush your teeth?
To prevent huge problems in my teeth, which cause me a lot of pain. So I've had a wisdom tooth extraction recently, and I got dry socket. You ever had that? The worst pain I've ever had in my entire life. And that was
I'm
quite
so
enduring.
sorry.
So no, it's fine. It's fine. I'm not picking at you for asking the question. But yes, that has motivated me to clean my teeth. But go on.
Yeah, I mean, I ask people in the States all the time, why do you brush your teeth? And the answer, and maybe it's an American thing, it's so my teeth don't rot and fall out. I mean,
Wow.
that's always the answer. And so why then are we motivated to brush our teeth? We're motivated by the pain of what might in if we don't brush our teeth. And so for decades, all of us collectively are brushing our teeth every day because we don't want our teeth to fall out. And if I can do a little psychology on your show introduction, I mean, the purpose of the High Intensity Business podcast and your membership is to help struggling business owners, to help struggling gym owners. If we said something like, come on over here and build your dream gym, people would be like, I don't know if I want to do that, or I don't know if I can do that. Even with ARX, I think their advertisement is to help, what was it? If you're struggling to deliver the same quality workout, that's a pain. It's not give the best workout ever. People are not motivated by that. And whether it's that they don't believe it because they haven't achieved that yet, pleasure doesn't motivate us nearly as much as pain does. And so when we get to have that conversation authentically and empathetically about pain, we actually get to what people are going through and reach out a hand and help them.
Do you use both though, ultimately? So you're starting with pain, you're amplifying pain, then you're leading to pleasure. So you're using both to motivate at the end of the session if you're going for an orientation. Is that right?
Yeah. So part two of this presentation.
We're gonna get to that, aren't we? Okay, yeah.
We aren't if you have me back.
Yeah, of course.
Part two is really how to sell people's heaven. It's how to paint that vision and really get them to see what it is that they want to step into or what their life might look like. And I will say that's 10 times harder to do with people because they just don't believe it. They don't know what they're going to feel like and look like when they've been working us in our small high intensity businesses for 2 years, 3 years. I mean, it's so hard for them to envision that. We, maybe as the professional, we know what it's going to be like because we've seen it happen so many times for so many different people. But it's then giving or opening up that vision to our prospect and really selling them on the heaven. It is a teetering too. So we want to make this all super negative. We also can come back in and give them a little bit of heaven also, because that's also motivating. Like I am going to feel good and I'm excited to be able to do all those different things. But this, at the end of the day, this is what's going to get them to their workout. It's what's going to get them to eat properly or take supplements or whatever it is that you're recommending. This is the big motivator. And that's why we brush our teeth every day.
Yeah, it's funny. No one says, I want to brush my teeth so they're white and sparkly. Right. And that's what I tell do you know what? You just helped me figure out how to get my son to brush his teeth. You've just actually cracked it, Corey Beth. Like I'm always, because I made up this stupid song, which I'll sing to him when he's brushing his teeth. I don't do this anymore because it just doesn't work anymore. Case in point. And it would say, the lyrics of the song were because you when you want to brush your teeth to keep your teeth healthy, white and strong. Now, I guess healthy, no, it's still pleasure, isn't it? It's still pointing to that. So I guess because they're our kids, we don't want to be negative, right? We don't want to focus there. But that could be I don't know, maybe he's 2.5. He's not overly rational. Maybe that's not going to have a positive impact at this point. So anyway, but I'll give it a go and let you know. I'll report back.
I can hear a heavy metal rock song where you're like, they're going to rot. No, we don't want to do that to a 2.5-year-old.
Yeah, maybe
but it's showing him, hey, yeah. But it's showing him too, hey, if we don't do this, then this, it's like that mathematical equation, if then, and I love using that with my kids because I use it with my students. If you eat the rest of your dinner, then you're going to feel great. If you don't eat the rest of your dinner, then you're going to go to bed hungry. It's teetering on the two without making it like you're going to be malnourished and, break a bone. We don't want them to think that. But we do have to paint that for people to have a better understanding, I think, an appreciation for why do the good things we do for ourselves.
Yeah. Awesome. All right, let's move on. So is this final slide? Oh, no, you got one, you got contact details after this. So yeah, final slide.
Just a recap. So it's a recap of the 5 questions in order. And again, if you wanted to add to number 1, what's not working would be an alternate way of asking that, where we could really dig in deep. And that's it. That's a wrap. It's awesome. Having a conversation. I do think it's important to practice these questions in the mirror, because people, they can hear a smile. You can hear that I'm smiling right now. They can hear a frown. They can hear, or I think energetically even, they can feel judgment. And so to be as logical as possible, I always say to clients, let's bring data, not drama. It's just, I'm here on this phone call to love you, but to collect some data from you, not make it dramatic or not fall into the pitfall of their own drama of, oh my gosh, my life is falling apart. We want to stay in a place of data. And if you practice these, I think you can do that really well.
Got it. So just to recap for those listening. So you got number 1, what's your biggest challenge? Or if that doesn't work, what's not working? Number 2, how long have you been struggling? Number 3, where else is this challenge showing up? Number 4, how long has it been showing up? And number 5, where will you be in 5 to 10 years if nothing changes? I think that's awesome, Corey Beth. Thank you for that. So we've got the final slide here. So this is obviously how people can contact you. So, all right. So there's a text thing. How does that work then? They text mindset to that number. What happens?
Yeah. So what I've done, I know we didn't get really deep into my story other than just being 30 pounds heavier, but I had a bunch of health diagnoses. And at the end of it, I actually suffered a head injury and was put out of work for a period of time. And at that point, realized how important it was to really win the war in our minds. So much of what we do is mindset, whether we're in sales or whether we're going in for a workout, so much of it is in our brain. And so what I've done here is put together 21 days of mindset that help people to dig in a bit onto their identity, different challenges or struggles they're having, procrastination issues that we have, and help them just with little, text reminders over 21 days to start to identify and also begin to overcome some of those things. I'm not promising that they're going to totally radically change their life in these 21 days. But again, just think from my own personal experience that were really helpful to me. I'd love to be able to share with your listeners.
Cool. Awesome. And then so you're on Facebook at Corybeth Lipowski, all one word, Instagram at corybeth.lipowski. And the website is purephysique.com, and text mindset to 914-915-8085. And I'm just going to close the presentation now because there's a few things I want to just wrap up with at the end. So there we go. I'm supposed to be a millennial, but I'm shocking with technology still. All right.
I'm pretty impressed. You did very well.
Yeah, I know. You're just saying that. Really, you're massively disappointed in my lack of preparation. All right. So just conscious of time here. So let's just say you've already left your contact details, but talk to us about the Pure Physique franchise opportunity as well.
Yeah. So listen, we've had a training studio here in New York for 14 years. My husband, Mike, he's been in the fitness industry for 25. And when we decided to franchise that small training studio, it really was an opportunity not just to impact people in different parts of the states or the world through our 30-minute workouts, but also to give other people the opportunity to own something that's theirs. I think we want to feel fulfilled in our life and in our work and what we're doing. And at the end of the day, I know human nature is we all want something that's ours, no matter what it is that looks like. And so we're fun. We're very structured, but we're very high vibe. And we have people that are partnering with us right now to open their own fitness franchise. The nice part about it is you get everything's provided, including access to us. And again, Lawrence, we want to make the whole process of starting a business and also giving and delivering workouts in a way that's enjoyable and fun. Of course, you're always going to run into pitfalls. But I think it's really important that we have community around us. And that's been really beautiful for us as the beginners, starters, founders of the franchise, to have this really amazing community that we're growing of professionals and clients, and watching them across locations, cheer each other on. We have clients that go on vacation together. I mean, I think the secret of life is that people influence people. And if we can do that in a positive way through our work and through our franchise, we are definitely looking for other high vibe and motivated people that want something that's theirs, but they want a community around them to build it.
Okay. And how do they find out more about that?
purephysique.com. There's a page right on there that talks about opening a franchise and working with us. And of course, they can come and visit us virtually or in person.
Cool. And I think it's a button in the top right, isn't it? That says something about franchise on the website. Yes. Yeah, it's quite easy to find.
Good, yeah.
Cool. Yeah. I had a quick look for the podcast, try and be somewhat diligent and prepared to an extent. And the other thing I mentioned as well is obviously I've been collaborating with yourself and Mike with regard to the IART courses. So these are more advanced personal training courses to help obviously you take your personal training operation to the next level, provide better workouts to help grow your business. If you're interested in that, you just have to go to highintensitybusiness.com/IART for more details. And you can apply through there and have a call with Mike to learn all about the options there. Corey Beth, thank you so much for taking the time to do this. This has been an awesome sales podcast, and I'm excited to take I'm actually literally going to take like the questions and put them straight into our consultation, because at the moment we're so surface with that, and this is exactly what we need. So I really appreciate you sharing it.
Thank you. It was such an honor to be here. I love listening to you, and again, just hope it provides value to your list. So thanks for having me.
And you're up for doing a part 2 to dive into the next part of it? Is that right? Is there another phase? The sort of solution pleasure part? Yeah.
Yeah, let's do it.
Awesome. All right. I'll send you an email about that. Okay. And for everyone listening, to find the blog post for this episode, please go to highintensitybusiness.com, search for episode 378. And until next time, thank you very much for listening. This episode is brought to you by Strength Portal. You need a single software platform that enables your trainers to deliver consistent, high-quality workouts, track client progress, and scale your business. The problem is you're still using pen and paper or basic spreadsheets to run your business, which leads to poor client experiences, inaccurate tracking, and prevents you from growing your business, making you feel frustrated. Strength Portal understand your challenge and have worked closely with the HIIT industry to create a software platform to manage and scale your niche business. You can integrate with MindBody, manage a standardized exercise and workout library for your team, track workouts effectively, and produce client reports at the click of a button. Strength Portal is used by multiple businesses in the high-intensity strength training community, namely Discover Strength, Smart Strength Austin, Medix Precision Fitness, and more. Starting with Strength Portal is super simple. Number 1, sign up for the best package for your business. Number 2, let Strength Portal take the load off and help onboard your business onto the platform. And number 3, start delivering consistent workout experiences and scale your business to the next level. To help support the podcast, please go to strengthportal.com/high-intensity-business and sign up now, so you can stop feeling frustrated about your business and start to scale your business to its true potential. Go to strengthportal.com/high-intensity-business.